month later is Dub, and less than a month later, and there's a good chance we get a Mac Pro.
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that? So
at the very earliest, they tease it, and it comes out in December. I physically can't imagine it launching sooner than December.
That's the interesting thing, because like a Mac Pro is, it feels like the best place to announce that is a developer conference, like at the biggest event of the year. Well, how is a Mac Pro? Like, it's a December release? Fucking AirPods Max. How are we going to put a Mac Pro in December?
Here's the thing.
That was a mistake too, though.
2013 Mac Pro, 2017 iMac Pro, 2019 Mac Pro. All of those were launched in December after getting announced at WWDC. The precedent is there. If there is a Mac Pro, it's a dub announcement. It's a December launch. So you're not gonna. Yeah. You'll get a good 6 months with a Mac Studio before the Mac Pro comes out, at least.
I forgot about that. Well, but Luke, I'm curious because you're the Mac guy, and I wanted to ask you this because one of our mental hurdles that we were getting through before was like Apple specifically said the M1 Ultra is the last M1 chip.
Right.
So John and I were spitballing, and we basically came to the conclusion that one of two things are going to happen. One, they're going to be like, oh, look, there's a secret module on the M1 Ultra that you connect two M1 Ultras together. One, that's kind of like the common consensus. The other theory that we had that I think John came up with was they would start the M2 rollout by being like, the Mac Pro has an M2 Ultra in it.
Okay. No, it's an M2 Extreme, isn't it?
Or, well, that would be if they did two M1 Ultras. This is confusing, but like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what is going to power the Mac Pro if this is already like pretty nuts?
So one idea that I had, and this one's pretty out there, was essentially like one of the things that I struggle to get past is the Mac Pro. I think Apple knows has to have some degree of upgradability, right? And I think I saw somewhere on Twitter, someone was saying that the Mac Pro is going to have like, the same terabyte of memory, which obviously wouldn't be like, if you just keep scaling, the M1 Max can do 32, you do 4 of them, you get 256, right? So there's a big gap there. So they're saying, okay, there's going to be memory modules, probably proprietary, but upgradable, expandable memory. If the Mac Studio is any indication, I would imagine that they'll have some storage upgrade solution. But then I started thinking like, maybe it's M1 Ultra. Like, remember MPX? Remember how you could install those big, they combine 2 PCIe slots? What if it's an M1 Ultra card and you can have 2 of them? Now that's the out there conspiracy. That's the out there conspiracy. The realistic one would be that they just have 2 M1. It's a sandwich. All right, you got an M1 Max, an M1 Ultra over here. You got an M1 Ultra over here. You got a PCB in the center. The heat spreaders are facing out like that, and then you have heat sinks on either side. So you have like a double-sided board, and they just call it M1 Ultra Duo or something. So it's not a new chip. It's just 2 of them. That's my thing.
We've seen that with GPUs. They've had like the Vega Pro Duo, which I think is probably a somewhat similar concept. I'm not super familiar, but
yeah,
that would make sense. But here's the thing. I think they're going to have to announce an Apple dedicated GPU in the Mac Pro. Because the GPU performance of the M1 Ultra or even 2 M1 Ultras, I don't think will be enough. For like, enough for what Marquez is doing.
What?
It's interesting though, because you're talking about 128 GPU cores. That's a lot.
But as we noticed, it doesn't seem like you mentioned this in your video, where you're like, I think that they need faster cores, not just more cores.
True, definitely. Yeah, and if you're talking about linking these chips together, like obviously the M1 Max has that interconnect, so they have like, what was it, like 10,000 connections, and it's like a bajillion gigabits per second or whatever. I can't imagine that connecting two of those M1 Ultras, I don't think they're doing the same thing again. I don't think there's like another. I mean, we've seen the chip, right? Someone in October found the physical interconnect. There's not like another hidden one on the side. Yeah.
Wait, they did.
In October,
we knew?
We knew about this, yeah.
Wait, what? When they announced it on stage, I was like, nobody knew.
Well, you're a fool then. No, there were pictures of it. There was somebody had their hands on the M1 Max, tore it down to like they had the actual silicon taken away from the board, and you could see that strip on the bottom that they're using for this interconnect. So there's not like another secret piece. That's it.
I'm disappointed it wasn't you, Luke.
That would see the problem would be that you can't reassemble that. Like they had to destroy the thing. There's no going back on that one. So I'm glad whoever did it, they took the L, but they won. They lost the battle. They won the war.
Yeah.
So that makes the most sense if they basically made a truly modular Apple Silicon machine that was
expensive
just like
modules, mind you.
Yeah. Yeah, like I'm sure it would be like $5,000 for an M1 Ultra module.
Oh yeah, easily.
But damn, that would be kind of hot, dude. If you could like, fuck, that'd be pretty.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get it, Luke? Are you gonna go? Is that the one that you're gonna go balls to the wall? Because what Mac Studio are you keeping? Do you have the top config Ultra?
I do. I didn't touch the storage of the RAM though, because I like what is it like a many hundreds, maybe $1,000 to get the 128 gigabytes of unified. Didn't need that. I stuck with 1 terabyte of storage because I don't know. I just didn't. I edit externally, so it wasn't like that big a deal. I've been using this thing for like 11 days now. I've got 670 gigabytes free on my SSD. So the only thing, like, I am going to go balls to the walls on the Mac Pro, because I've never had one new, and I feel like it's not necessary, most likely, but I gotta have a video on it. I have to justify it, so get some sponsors, write it off as my like long-term machine. Right, I'll make it work. The only thing I am gonna do then that I've decided is I'm gonna go probably for like 8 terabytes of storage, because I want to start editing on the local SSDs. They're so fast that I just want to.
I've been telling you about this for years.
Yeah, because like my system that I have is every month I make a new Final Cut library, so I have it organized by month, and so I realized they usually get to be about 2 to 3 terabytes. So if I make the Mac Pro large enough, every month I can offload it and then start fresh.